Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today is an exciting episode because hopefully I will be getting some colour onto the 680. Yes guys, you heard me right. The plan today is to try and get everything buttoned up so I can at least get some colour in the engine bay and in the door jambs and those bits of the 680. Now I am saying the 680 because that is the new name for my Datsun 240Z. And I thought I would do a little bit of a competition with you guys, and whoever works out why I've called it the 680 first, they will get the original sketch of the Datsun 240Z for the shirts. And I'll send it anywhere in the world. So, all right, enough yapping. Let's get into sanding, because you know that's what I have to do. All right, I've been going through and sanding down all of the inside parts. So inside the door jambs, underneath the front cowl panel, and the next I'm going to go through and do inside the engine bay. Before I need to mask things up thoroughly and everything, basically I'm going to go through now and just clean up and give a quick coat of satin black to all of the inside of the wheel arches either side. It's much easier to do it now. I am not one for having colour-coded inside the wheel arches. I've seen lots of builds where people do that, and same as on the 911, I didn't bother doing that because it looks fantastic when it's clean and fresh and new, but as soon as you drive it, at least with me, I don't spend time taking the wheels off and cleaning inside the wheel arches. I'm really not that fussed with that, so I just want it to disappear inside the wheels, so that's what I'm doing. So I'll give this, just a quick clean up now and a quick coat of satin black just while it's easy to get to, and then we can keep sanding. Very happy with that. Looks nice and neat. It's just sort of roughly tidied it up. So for now I'll leave that, and it's time to unbolt the bonnet hinges and then just keep sanding that engine bay. That's the yucky bit, because very little of it's flat, you can't block it, it's in with your hands, and your fingers ache, and it's never fun, but it's got to be done. So now I've gone over the whole thing with 180 grit dry. So now it's time to come back into it with 320 grit wet and dry. But first things, I'm just going to go around with a vacuum, just suck up all the dust to try and keep the mess to a minimum. But 320 wet and dry. Next step, let's get into it. Before I go too far here with sanding, I just remembered that the VIN of the car is just here, and it's filled up a bit with high fill primer. So I've got this this sort of fine light wire wheel here. I'm just going to try and clean it up, get it back to bare metal just there. I might just dust a little tiny bit of primer on it, but I just want it to, I don't want to obviously cover up and fill in the VIN so you can't read it. So it's got to be readable. So let's go. All right, before I go any further, I thought I'm going to go through, I'm just going to chuck some seam sealer onto these wheel arches where I've cut them. I'm not going to be painting them today, obviously, but it's just more while I think about it before I go too much further. It gives it time to set up. It just will make sure that no moisture and anything gets in from there. I'll also do it on the inside so that they're just nice and solid and sealed up. So we'll get this on, and then I'm going to do my last sand just on the inside of the door frames. The engine bay I'm going to leave at 320 grit. On the inside of the door jambs and the flat inside the boot, the nice pretty areas I'm going to go over just with 600 just to make sure it's nice and completely smooth. But the engine bay and stuff I'm happy with 320, so that's fine. Okay, so it's all rubbed back. I'm happy with how it's rubbed back. It's now time to start masking it up. So mask up the interior all properly, and yes, it's getting there. It's getting really close. All right, the car is all cleaned up. The boot is all clean. It just needs some water laid down, and then it is ready for me to start laying the paint on. And that brings me to a point that a lot of you have been waiting for quite a while. You've been all asking me questions. What color is it going to be? And I went backwards and forwards for a while on what color to do the Z. I thought, yeah, there's lots of things, but it came back to the fact that I really like blue Zs. And then I moved to okay, what blue do I like? Well, I looked at all the Nissan blues. I sort of had a look around. I didn't mind the R34 blue, but it was okay, and I sort of prefer something a bit darker. And Nissan have got some okay blues, but nothing that was really blowing my hair back. Wasn't really getting me excited, so I looked a bit further afield, and I actually found a Lexus color. Some of you are going to be upset about that, but what I looked for, I found Ultrasonic Blue 2.0, which is a really deep, rich color. It's actually, of course, I can't make things easy for myself. It's actually a 3-layer color. So what that means is, most cars are metallics, etc., are a 2-layer. You know, you've got the base coat, the color, and then you put a clear coat over the top. With a 3-layer, you've got a ground coat, and then there's a transparent top coat, which is still, so in this case, it's like a metallic blue ground coat that looks a lot like the color it's going to be, and then a transparent blue, sort of pearly metallic top coat to give it some real depth, and then a clear coat over the top of that. So it's quite a difficult process. It's very similar to a candy apple. So if any of you know what a true candy apple paint job is like, essentially you think of a candy apple, a toffee apple, and it's generally red and you can sort of see the apple through it. That's what candy apple is usually like. So usually, like a candy apple red car, you would do a metallic silver or gold over the car first, and then you'd have a transparent red that you'd spray over the top. And depending on how many coats you do, as is how dark a red you're going to get. The issue with that is, though, that you have to keep an even coat over the entire outside of the car. You can't paint a door off the car and put it on because it will never match. You can't touch up a candy apple paint job. Candy apple is about as difficult as it gets. And this is a little bit easier because it has, as I said, it has a blue ground coat, so it's not quite as critical, but it's still a difficult process. So that means that I'm going to have to spray all of the external panels on the car in one hit. I can't sort of paint the doors and the guards off the car and then put them on later. It won't work. They'll all be different colours. So what I'm doing for starters on the body is I'm going to do the engine bay, the door jambs, inside the petrol flap, and inside the rear hatch. That's what I'm doing now. So it's time to mix up some ground coat and start getting some colour on this car. Yeah! And we are all done. And this is looking fantastic. I haven't noticed any runs, no major dry spots. And this is such a nice, beautiful, deep colour. I am quite a fan. Probably won't get it all on camera until I really move it out into the sunlight, but it's just such a beautiful, rich colour. And of course the fuel filler cap, which is something I almost forgot, but now you'll see that I deliberately didn't mask up the car. I'm not too worried about this overspray because I'm going to be sanding back the rest of the car completely anyway. I'll block it all back and get it all flat, so it doesn't really matter if there's a bit of blue on it now because it's all going to be resprayed anyway, and the blue cut will cover that painted parts. But yeah, I am loving it. Well, that is very satisfying. There is finally some colour on the car and I am loving it. It's gone on quite nicely. I'm quite happy with the result. So obviously there's still plenty more sanding to do. So I haven't finished yet. I mean, I've got to paint the rest of the stuff. I've still got to do all the inside bits of the guards and the underside of the bonnet, the underside of the rear hatch. But oh, it's looking good. It's really coming together. So, all right, well, that is definitely all the time I have for today. So that means it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, moving forward at Bathurst, Holden's V8 Toranas dominated, with Peter Brock winning in 1975 and Bob Morris in 1976. In 1977, Alan Moffat and Colin Bond and 351 XC Falcons ran in formation on the final lap down Conrod Straight. An aerial footage of this has become one of the most enduring images of Bathurst history. Peter Brock and Jim Richards started a winning streak, taking out the 78 and 79 racers and a Marlboro-sponsored A9X Torana. They won again in 1980 in the new VC Commodore.
I'm so excited. We have colour on the car, finally. I don't know what you guys are going to think, whether you're upset there's a Lexus colour or not, but I really like it. It glows. It's
luminescent. I love it. It's my favourite colour ever. This is like my favourite colour of all time. It's
nice. As I mentioned earlier, the new name is 680 for the Datsun. So whoever can guess why I called it 680 is going to get the original sketch of this particular car on this jumper. So
best of success at delving into the convoluted reasonings of Jeff's mind.
So correct answer in the description wins it, and I'll send it wherever you are in the world. All right, guys.
Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And it's spring is starting here in Australia, so hopefully it's going to get warmer soon.
It's getting there. Today was like the first day where it was actually nice to sit outside and have an afternoon coffee outside. In any case,
I'll see you next week.
See you next week. See you guys. So
I'm a bouncer. What can I say? I'm a bouncer. Colin Moffat and Alan. No, Should we just move on? Is it just too horrible? It's just too bad. In a Tirana. It's an A in it. Is that good enough? No. I know you're thinking, how can I not remember such a short sentence?